right, welcome back. So as you can see behind me, I got a new addition to my collection here, and it is the Janet Mannequin from Pivot Point. I do have some unboxing here, maybe I'll splice that in here, but let me just show you the outside box. So the Mannequin is a little bit different, which I never really paid attention to that much until I actually got the Mannequin. As you can see, there's different ways that Pivot Point has their mannequins. So what that means is that the shortest point is right here on the head, and most of the length is happening at the bottom, which I will go back and I'll explain to you what that actually looks like. Now, I understand why they did it for this curly hair, but that has a lot of issues, and that's going to be one of my main concerns with this particular mannequin. So I just want to sit down and talk to you about the price point first of all. The price itself, it comes close to almost $200 once you add in the shipping and taxes and all that. The shipping and handling alone is $20 at a minimum, and that's just not on the rush, that's the regular order. And that's one of the things that I have the biggest issue with too, is that these curly hair mannequins are the most expensive ones in their collection compared to their regular straight hair counterparts. I understand that the hair is probably a lot more in cultivating, but really if you're somebody that wants to learn and you want to practice on this texture of hair, it makes it really difficult and hard to get. And also, once you buy and you spend that much money on the mannequin, you don't really want to ruin it. You don't want to cut the hair, you don't want to cut too much of the length off. And if any of you know, when you get mannequins, especially if you are in cosmetology school or if you're new to this and you're practicing at home, what you do know is no matter what kind of mannequin you get, you definitely have to give it a haircut. And regardless of whatever length they say it is, you're probably going to end up losing about 2 inches off of that length automatically, because a lot of that length is just straight ends that have no density. And in order for it to look like anything, you're going to have to cut it anyway, which I'll go in and I'll show you on this particular curly hair mannequin. But it happens on all textures of the mannequin. It doesn't matter which one it is. Excuse me, because this is the spring season and my allergies are acting up, so I'm trying to knock out as much of these videos as I can while I still am feeling good and energetic. So if you hear me sniffling, that's what that's all about. But back to this, I feel like Pivot Point to me is one of the best mannequins that you can get. Hair art is another one that I love really good, but this particular thing is about Pivot Point, so I just want to focus on them. The hair is more realistic, the sectioning, the pattern, there's not too much density around the hairline that you would find in most mannequins, so that's one of the reasons why I like to use them the most. And their mannequin faces are actually very attractive looking. They're not too weird, you know? So, as you see, that's one reason. So, I'm gonna get into the rest of this video. I just wanted to sit down there and talk to you face to face to let you know that this is probably gonna be the part where I am going to go in depth in everything and actually section the hair and show you what I'm talking about when you buy this mannequin. I just want to go over those specs for you, so definitely pay attention to that. One thing before I jump back there and do that, because you probably won't be able to see my face, but I'll be explaining it, so you'll have to watch. What I wanted to show you is the difference between these two. This one is the mannequin that's called, I think, the Maya, if I'm not mistaken, right? So when you look at this density, I want you to pay attention to this, because we are going to talk again about this, and also pay attention to where the length hits. Yes, this has been cut a little bit, but pretty much the length is about the same. The only thing that's really been done is a lot of a face frame, which a lot of this little corner right here has been taken away, but for the most part the length hits at the same way, at the same rate. And I want you to pay attention to this density. So take a good look at this. We're gonna come back to this really soon. So I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna hop back there and just pay attention to the mannequin as I discuss. All right, so we are back. Like I said, I'm gonna be cut off, but I'm still here with you. So first thing I want you to do is just take a look at the perimeter. So I will include a little cut of how it looked out of the box so you can see exactly how it is. It did not come like this. I washed this first with the clarifying shampoo. I believe I use Paul Mitchell shampoo. I can't remember if it's 1 or 3, but it's one of those. Whichever the clarifying one is, that's the one that I use. And then I use the Mizani moisturizing shampoo, and all I did was put the 25 Miracle Milk leave-in spray in this and detangled it and left it alone and just diffused it like this. So it fluffed out to this particular texture, okay? So this is just detangled, straight out, and this is. So whenever you're assessing curly hair or you're looking at curly hair, you pretty much want to just pay attention to how it is. So this is a good example of not only showing you how this mannequin is, but how you will assess curly hair once you're looking at it. So the first thing that we can see with this is that, I'm going to step to the side so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. When I say that you have to cut these mannequins, now if you was to do a real thorough assessment by looking at this, you can see where you can see through all of this area. You see how you can see my hand? Those are like straggly ends that if you took those things off, right here, that will give you a nice solid shape, right? So right away, that's about maybe about 3 or 4 inches. In fact, let's measure, because not everybody's inch is the same. All right, well, I can't find the ruler, so it is what it is. We're just gonna roll with it, because my daylight is going and I wanna keep on the roll while I still am. So, what we're looking at here is, okay, so if you see this density line right here, you see this part is the length, right? That's what a lot of it is that you're losing, and a lot of people are buying this for the length. Now, what you will see as it's photographed in a lot of pictures and different things when they have everything set up, or people who buy it, what they'll do is they'll kind of split this back, and if you do that, you can put this, like say they had, they are mannequin shoulder stands. So if you got one with shoulders, realistically the shoulder will be out here, and looking at it, it looks like it's okay, right? Everything looks nice and dense because all of this is kind of pushed forward to help fill in those gaps, and it creates those layered effects. Now, when I showed you this box, and I showed you how it increases where the shortest is there and the longest is there, you can kind of see that happening already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down. And what I want you to see is the front of the hair right here. This is the shortest piece. We pull that out if we take a look at that. And then this is the back right here. We're going to turn this to the side so that you get a really good assessment. And look at that. See, when you bring these two up, maybe two. So let's look at this from the side then. I'm going to bring it back up for you to see. And right here, you can kind of see how this creates this already big effect. So it already has like a face frame. If you look at the density towards the back, which is very hard to tell because the hair is at a level 4. Let me bring this light a little bit closer so that you can see that. You can see that there is a difference in density. If you hold this out, which this is happening, this is the top of the occipital bone, which is right here, right? Yeah. Top of the occipital bone. Hold on. Yeah, right here. Top of the occipital bone. And this is below the occipital bone. And if you can see that, which it probably just looks like a mess, but let me turn to this side. Let me drop this down so that I'm in frame, and then we're gonna take a look at, you see this big gap right here? So look, this stops here, and the rest of this continues on. So you have about this much of hair on the end. So what that does is that creates a big density gap in between here and here. If you look towards the back of the hair right here, it's almost like if there is a track on the back of the neck just to make length, right? So when you have hair that's like that, there's a couple of options, right? So what you can do is you can melt this with this by lessening this gap. Of course, you're gonna lose some of that length, but it'll melt everything together and you're gonna lose probably about that much of the length in the back, which this is a good amount of hair if you're buying this mannequin for length. Now, one of the reasons why I said keep the other mannequin in mind is because when you purchase the Maya, you are hoping for the same amount of density that you would get with this Janet, right? But Maya doesn't have that same voluminous density. It falls even flatter. So you can see the difference right away in between the two textures. So if I was to cut this to make this, look full and give it a nice curly cut, it will end probably right about here, which is towards the end of where that neckline is. So that means that all of this length that they pretty much added to give it length will go away, and you'll be left with something like that. But it's really full, it's really dense, and you can do a lot with that. This is like the perfect. Which you'll end up with something that is about this length when it comes down to it, right? But you'll have more volume because you have more hair in this one. So you buy this for this length and you hope to get this, but you're really getting this. And then you buy this for the length, but you really just get you just really get the same length as in the other one, but you just get more density. So that's why I said keep those two in mind. Now, this hair in particular, of course, like I said, the price point is very high. I do not want to cut too much of it. So what I will do is try to work with whatever is already here, and I'll probably do a nice haircut video tutorial with it. But I just wanted to show you how to look and how to assess curly hair, and that's pretty much what you're doing here. But it has a very nice full density at the top because it has all of those shorter pieces, so it's basically cut into layers for you. But it just has this little piece right here at the end that just does nothing for the hair, and really, visually looking at it, you just want to take it off because it's a whole different texture. It's much looser. You can tell it was just added towards the end. The density and the curl pattern is a little bit different from what happens at the top, but that happens with curly hair naturally. So it's nothing to really say that, oh, you're not going to see this. Normally you would see this type of texture towards the front of the hair, not really towards the back, and you'll see this type of texture towards the back. The reason that you'll see this kind of texture towards the front a lot is because of all of these ponytails that you do. And they're pulling and pulling and pulling and stretching that curl pattern naturally. So it hangs looser. But looking at this, you can see when you just pull the hair, you can just see that that gap right here. So all of that, it just feels like a track that's been added. But really, that's just the hair. So with this particular hair, you have a couple of options. Like I said, you can just kind of, if you don't care about losing all of that length, you could definitely go in right there, kind of preserve a lot of the hair. Let me pull this out so that you can see and step from the side. Okay, you can kind of pull this out and you can carve out just the minimal amount that you need to give it some density, and you can kind of blend this in. You can go in and add a track towards the top of that occipital bone, giving you some more volume here in the middle to fill in that gap, and then you can blend and cut that in to have a nice full shape overall. Or you can leave it as is and just treat it and style it in a way that allows it to look full when everything is kind of pulled to the front. So you can just style everything this way, pull all of that hair towards that way, and just style it in that manner, which is a lot of how you see it styled when you look on people who have this mannequin. That's pretty much what they're doing. They're just splitting that V in the back. They're pulling all of this to the front, and it looks like, you know, that kind of length and volume continues all the way around, but it doesn't. Another thing that I would say, the texture is very good, very versatile. It can go from really silky depending on how you style everything. So this is going to be a nice mannequin for us to learn on, to play with, for me to talk about, and show you different techniques. I'm definitely going to do a curly cut on this. I know silk presses are one of my #1 requests and one of my biggest videos, so I'm definitely going to do a silk press on this and show you exactly how everything looks when it's straightened out. And then we're going to do some styling tutorials with this. I'm going to show you how to do some ponytails, so all that good stuff. But I just wanted to unbox it, give you my opinion, and let you know about the Janet Mannequin. And I still am on the fence about coloring it, but I'll think about it. Until then, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.